What is good, you guys? Today we're going to be going through the process of repainting this card. As we can see, it's already been painted, and I haven't really released a good tutorial on how to paint these or the process I really go through. So this has already been painted, as you can see. This is MSI R9270X from Codename Bubblegum. It still has the backplate on it because the backplate was made for this card, though the cutout I ended up being able to put back on the PC. The PC was recently upgraded to a 980, so I got stuck with this card. So we're going to go through. First thing we're going to do, though, is take off this backplate. And there's the backplate and these little spacers here. Alrighty. I guess the next thing would be to pull off this plastic part. So if you know the graphics card, like I know this one, I know that you can pull the plastic part off without actually removing the heatsink, which is a good thing. But as we can see here, I actually painted the metal right here, which is part of the heat shield for the VRMs and stuff to help dissipate the heat. It's the nice little plate that goes along the memory and stuff. I did actually paint just this part of it. As you can see, the rest of it was, I don't know if you can see. Well, you'll be able to see when I pull it off, but the rest of it's still black. But obviously I'm going to want to repaint this, so I will be having to take apart the entire card for this. But if you're looking to just paint this plastic part on this exact card, you simply just remove the fans. And then you're going to remove, there should be 4 screws in total holding on this plate to the actual heat shroud. And that should, I don't know why this one didn't want to come out, should pull off the actual cover here. So I will not be painting the fans for this. I really don't feel like it, and the color I'm going with will be white, so I can leave the fans on. They can be white and black, that's fine. I'm going to section off all the screws here, just keep track of them. So next is you're just going to have to jimmy the fans out from here, which I've done it enough obviously to where it happens so easily. So if you are wanting to paint your fans, I suggest taping them off very well. And these stickers actually are very easy to get on and off. I've actually have a pair of fans that I painted already and was able to put the stickers back on. I would use a razor blade and slowly, very slowly, and carefully slide it underneath it and basically peel the sticker off that way. Really easy way to get them off and to make sure that you can stick them back on afterwards. But we are going to be removing these logos. Now, I'm kind of afraid because when I put these logos on, the paint wasn't fully dry yet. And I kind of did that on purpose because I wanted it to kind of have the paint sticking it down. So these might not come off very easily. And if they do, I might be having to super glue them back down. So we'll find out. I need to get a razor blade and pull those off. Well, normally I have a razor blade around for this, but I can't find it because reasons I don't know. I just can't find it. So we're gonna use this thing, fucking box cutter, and we're gonna see how well this works out. Because honestly, I don't know. It should work about the same. Now you want to be extremely careful. If you are going to scratch or dent the paint, you want to make sure you do it underneath the logo, since when you put the logo back on, it'll hide any imperfections like that. And there's the MSI logo. Came out a little bit bent, but all you gotta do is bend it back a little bit. So we're going to be keeping that because we want the logo. Now for this part, this one's the harder one to get on and off. In fact, there's a little bit of a ledge here that I accidentally bent a little too much from the first time I pulled it off. Oh, looks like it's going to come off fairly easy. Alrighty, so the adhesive on this wasn't as sticky as it was the first time around, so it came off fairly easy. So I'm going to try and keep it sticky so it'll be sticky enough to stick back on again. So here we have the actual plate part that was painted pink. As you can see, I did front and back, the whole shebang. and we'll be redoing that along with, I will be keeping this back plate because it's cool, and I'm just, I paid for it, so I'm gonna put it back on there. Next we have getting that pink piece off right here. So as you can see, my GPU is missing 2 screws, and that is because those are the screws to hold the back plate on. Hard to see, but they're right here. So those really long screws hold that back plate on. So I am technically missing those 2. As far as the fans go, I'm gonna have to unplug them, but which is right here. But they are kind of like chained through the clips on the side of the cooler, and it runs along the side right here. So I will be leaving those, I guess, just clipped in there, and I'm just gonna take the back off of it. So we'll start by actually removing the actual cooler, which will be the 4 big giant screws on the back. Now remember that a lot of GPUs will have this sticker on one of the screws, and that is damage this sticker or remove this sticker, your warranty is voided. Obviously, this graphics card is completely painted pink, so the warranty has automatically already been voided a long time ago. Not to mention, if you plan on painting your graphics card, I hope that you would know that that means you're voiding your warranty. So I'm literally just going to undo all the screws while I'm back here, because I'm probably just going to clean up the PCB completely anyways. So I will be reusing all the thermal pads on here, so hopefully I don't damage any of them too bad. So there's the paste and the part that touches the actual die, so we're going to be cleaning all that off. And then I know that this has 2 more screws in the back right here. A lot of GPUs will have a screw or 2 in the back that'll hold this plate on, so keep that in mind if you're pulling them apart. See, now I'm kind of regretting painting that part pink, because now I have to repaint it black, or white or black, I'm not sure. Probably do white. And if I didn't paint it in the first place, I could have just left it black. But, I didn't think I'd be upgrading that system to a 980 so quickly. So, let's see. Make sure all your screws are off and everything before you actually start to pull things off. There we go. And because I've done this so many times, as you can see, all of the pads actually just didn't even come off on the GPU. That's because this card is not even a year old. And I've probably taken it apart about 4 or 5 times. So, yeah, that'll happen. Mostly just because I like touching things and messing with things. But as you guys can see, this plate has been painted, just the edge of it. So I'm going to have to sand that down and paint it. But first, we will have to clean off. What was that? I heard something rattling around. Maybe it was just my head. I don't know. Oh. It wasn't just in my head. It's nothing rattling. It's just something sticky on there. There's a little sticker thingy. Okay, so we're going to clean off the GPU die. Just while we have it here, we might as well. I would suggest cleaning it off again before you actually initially put it together. I'm just going to use a towel. Most people say use microfiber and all that stuff, which, I can't disagree with. Probably a better idea than what I'm doing. But I've used a towel so many times and never had a bad result from it, so it's not, I'm going to do it right now. So I've used t-shirts too. It didn't really do anything different. At least I didn't see any negative effects from it. So once we get the die cleaned off, for the most part, we're going to go in after all the little leftovers behind. There's quite a few random spots that have some. Now, I will say this, if you are doing this, make sure before you start putting it all back together that this is completely dry, like how I'm taking this alcohol wipe and just kind of wiping all over the place here and getting all the extra gunk off. You want to make sure that it's completely dried out before you put it back together and power it on, because you do not want any of these wet when you go to power your computer on, because that's all bad news. So this is going to be apart for probably a few days, so I'm not worried about it. I don't mind if it's a little damp for now. It'll dry up by the time I put it back together. So that's good enough. We'll die a little bit of a wipe down there. So there we go. That's our clean GPU. Now we're going to clean off this piece, which still has the fans attached to it. because that's how I roll. I'm not going to take the fans off. I'm just going to leave them on there. So this one, same thing. Once again, if you douse it in rubbing alcohol, don't put it back together until you know it's fully dry. It's not worth the risk. So we're going to go ahead and just get all that gunk off of there. And there we go, all clean. So now that's ready to go back on. So with these pads, I'm going to be taping off this and repainting this metal piece. So I'm very gently going to peel these pads off and replace them back down, hopefully in the right spot, which I should probably map out just a little bit exactly where they go for now. So this one reaches over those right here. So you have to be really careful with these because I've noticed that these can break very easily. Also, you don't want to get too much dust on either side of them. So that's one of the main reasons I'm actually taking it off, is because I don't want any paint dust or anything to get on these. I don't want to further ruin them or anything. So we're just going to lay them down nice like. I'm not going to put any pressure on them or squeeze them too much. I'm just kind of lightly lay them down and just kind of tap on them to make sure they're going to stick there, so when I move the card they don't fly everywhere. Like I said, if you're going to be doing this, be very careful because these can rip extremely easily. I've ripped them before, so I know this. Also, the older your card is, the harder these are to get off. I can also tell you that much too. It's got like a very soggy, sticky Play-Doh feeling. So just imagine slowly peeling off sticky Play-Doh and how easily that would rip and stuff. So, and you also want to make sure you're getting it, exactly where it needs to be on the components it was meant to be on. So there is, I've noticed with these R9 270Xs from MSI, there is one chip right here that does not get any padding on it. One RAM chip. Not necessarily sure why, I just know it doesn't. It doesn't even have, the plate doesn't even go over it. So that one wouldn't be able to have a pad on it even. I mean, you could put a pad on it, but it'll probably just fall off because there's no plate over it to actually transfer the heat to. So I've noticed that. I don't know why that's like that. So next we're going to figure out what else has it on there. So this goes right here because there's a pad right here. So this pad, if I am correct, will go right on top of that, which it does. So like I said, if you have to do what I'm doing, map it out to make sure you're putting these in the exact spot that they're supposed to go. You don't want any components that get really hot to not have one of these on it, especially if it's supposed to have one on it. So that's like refusing to stay down there and sticking all over to my fingers. Next, I think that has it is the little chips over here. So we'll go ahead and stick one on there. And then we'll stick the other one on here, where this one's supposed to go. So these don't stick very well, as you can tell, which is fine. Just put this somewhere where you're not going to touch it and move it very much, and where it's going to be clear of any like airborne stuff. Don't stick it next to your... Alrighty, sorry about that. Apparently I forgot to delete like 3 20-minute fucking recordings on the camera, so it ran out of space because I forgot. Okay, so yeah, keep your pads on your card, or if you want, you can put them somewhere else. I don't know. I just keep them here so I know where they went, and all I have to do is throw the plate back on when I'm done. So keep these clear of any dust or any debris, anything. Put them somewhere where they won't really be disturbed much, or where you won't feel the need to actually touch them or anything. So that's what I'm going to do with this card, and we're going to take these out in the garage, and I will be using the built-in audio mic off my camera, so have fun listening to that, and we're going to take these for a little paint job. Alrighty, now we're out in the garage. We're going to be some light sanding, doing some of that stuff. So with this paint, this is a really high gloss, thick paint on here. So if you are sanding something like this, like a pre-painted part like I am, you'd be prepared to go through a good amount of sandpaper getting that off. I just like to rough it up and smooth it out, kind of get it better to adhere with. So we're gonna do that for all these parts real quick, and then probably start throwing some coats on it. See that? See how smooth it got just from doing that, and like how the paint gets stuck in between it? Yeah, that'll... Anyways, there's dust all over the inside of here, and if I paint over that dust, it's just going to build up and it's going to look terrible, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wash everything, and after you wash everything, you want to make sure you give it good enough time to dry. You do not want to paint on anything wet. That is a terrible idea. So we're going to go ahead and wash it and come back when we start painting.